I am back on the NSS scandal. Why am I back? I'm back because see I'm a on some short comments. Must be bisa I'm Pascal Jrai. I'm pay 500 million cedis. As I want from what Juro must be a being believe see a bini there. So I'm back. And once I'm back with further and better particulars on the critical analyst channel. Hi Niagro. See one name story no the NSS scandal. Niafia ya. Mami Gifty Oware. Yura Osei Assibey Antwi say court attorney general charged on causing financial loss to the state over $500 million cedis. I'm bringing it to you on the critical analysis and make sure so subscribe and more subscribe no click bell notification with the video be atuma obehu na watimi ahwebi. Now we are watching commenting the comments section so read them we are obeti bi as kama no ko app and Play Store one pan rate or download na fe do link in the description bar so to click na the do juma. First video on the man Suleiman Abraham credit to Joy News the 4th state omo no me research no and the exposé and buy. The NSS scandal is the 4th they did the work. Why did they go into the document of National Service? Why did they go through their software to uncover John Mahama by the so they share 120-day promise about corruption issue by cover addressing. Yes, I did. You could see young Kassan in TV.
Since the start of the project in 2021, a number of very important and impactful stories have been made. This is not the first. If you recall the SML, the whole SML thing, was started by the 4th estate and all of that. But this particular story, I should say the developments are quite fulfilling for a number of reasons because we went through a lot of troubles. At the last minute when we were ready to bring it out, we had a judge who thought that it was right to issue a pre-publication injunction to essentially say, stop, don't publish what you intend to publish.
There was an ex parte injunction. Yes, it was taken on your blind side.
Yes, on our blind side. And then we had to then ask ourselves, what can we do? Well, if a court says we shouldn't publish, we cannot publish, let's send our petition, first of all, to the OSP. And then when ORA was also set up, we said, let's send it there. And we thought we needed to do this because what we had discovered was so scandalous. I think that in the end, the amounts that would be involved perhaps would be more than what the Attorney General at this stage has even discovered. Because there are certain persons that, from our investigations, we knew that were deeply involved in this whole process. But, of course, there are 2 people who are not named. We don't know who they are. But if it turns out not to be those people, for example, then it means there are a lot of people who must be brought to book on this particular matter. And what is also fulfilling for me, Samson, I should say that, but for the work we did, nobody would even suspect that there was anything happening at the National Service Authority. Nobody would have had a clue that something could be happening, so let's investigate. Because the thing was very well orchestrated in such a way that unless you had people who were familiar with the situation willing to cooperate, there's no way, because this is a technology that has been developed. Dr. Bawumia is told, as a result of this technology, we are blocking ghost names. As a result of this technology, if you don't have a Ghana card, you cannot enroll as a national service person. And once you have a Ghana card as Samson Ayenini, your thumbprint and everything, it's not only the Ghana card that serves as evidence, but that once we take it, we actually match it with your records at NIA, because there is that agreement between NSA or NSS then and the NIA. So once we put in your card, if your card doesn't match with the records at NIA, it means that you cannot enroll. But we end up discovering that people were actually using just paper ID cards. National Fire Service ID card, work ID card like my Joy FM ID card to get enrolled. Which means that the system, as we were being told, is a robust system. People had their own ways of going behind it. And in the end, having thousands and thousands and thousands of people, enrolled. You take a university like UDS, and you have people giving different index number patterns. You know, every university has an index number pattern. So if you go to University of Ghana, they'll say, well, we use absolute figures. So 10, 11, 44, 99, or blah, blah, blah. But you would find somebody, maybe University of Ghana, and University of Ghana, for some strange reasons, was not part of the schools that they were using. It's UDS, Winneba, and UDS, the various campuses. So eventually UDS Tamale, for example, now comes to say that, look, the numbers you have put out there are certainly not UDS numbers, so please, the Fourth Estate, take our names out. And we say, no, it's not, the numbers are not created by us. This is what National Service say, you know. You brought, you know. And then you have a situation where one person, I've forgotten the name, is enrolled like 226 times, the same name, the same ID, the same course, completed the same year.
You found people who were how many years old? 80
years, 90 years, enrolled for National Service. People who were, you know, Kenyans, a Kenyan sitting somewhere, you know, in his company, doing his work, doesn't know that his picture is being used to enroll for National Service here in Ghana. You had ID cards that had a man's face and the name is a woman's face. You had ID card with a different date of birth, and then on the system it's a different date of birth. But this was something that you certainly cannot have access to. And so when we started, I think they just brushed us aside. No, these people, what are they doing? They don't know what they are doing. Eventually there were calls, oh, can you come and have a conversation? Once we take you through our system, you realize that what you are doing is just junky work. You know, you basically will not be wasting your time. And after we even, you know, went through the process, eventually the court injunction was over and we did a publication. We had some former executives of the NSA going around various media houses, blowing horns and basically, you know, basically condemning the work we did as being nothing. And I'm surprised, and I'm sure today they'll be very, very ashamed of themselves, you know, with the process so far and where we've gotten to. In fact, we had an occasion where somebody even wrote, you know, for PR purposes, demanding retraction and apology. That what we have done is a bogus thing. We should immediately retract and render an unqualified apology. Quite strangely, we that the letter was intended, we never received the letter up to today. Meanwhile, it was uttered by, you know, lawyers so essentially it was a PR thing. And as we said, it didn't start. It was not a one-year event. You know, quite clearly, as we indicated during the publication, 2017, 2018, from our analysis, the first year, we realized literally nothing happened. But beyond that, all the way till the worst year was 2020, 2022, 2023. And as the AG pointed out yesterday, that year alone, almost 350 million cedis was lost to ghost names. And we had regional directors who were complaining during management meetings, saying that, oh, DG, I realized that in my region, every month before I authorize approvals, when I go onto the dashboard, I realize that thousands of people have already been pre-approved as service persons in my region. But per the mechanism we are operating, as a regional director, I'm the one who is supposed to give the final authorization after going through the validation to establish that this number of persons are within my region and are rendering national service. But before I come, pre-approvals have already been given. So I don't know what is happening. And in that meeting, you know, what we are told is we will look into it. And nothing happens. It continued all the way until, you know, these discoveries were made. And then they started to fidget with the system here and there. But by then, the damage had been caused, evidence had been picked, and so on. What for me is quite strange is something is that, if I'm not mistaken, the National Service Authority is still using the same metric app that allowed for this scandal to happen. And it's quite strange. You know, it's really strange that the National Service Authority under a new leadership would decide that it is the same metric app that was used for this scandalous exercise, used for this vendor system. And for the benefit of our listeners, the vendor system was basically that, oh, let's get some people to be suppliers of appliances to national service persons. So companies can come and register. So the national service persons can go for items on high purchase. And that was the scheme that was being used. So at the end of the month, deductions are made to certain, against certain names.
I've been speaking to them, and it does appear that the accusations and allegations against the individual persons, particularly Gifty Oware, about some 30 million for guarantee or pick a loan, may have been an issue of these high purchase processes, and that they did not actually do so. But of course, this matter will get to the courtroom.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Because as I understand, like teachers, like various associations and organizations, sometimes people come with products to say, we want to give your people this, but we want you to guarantee that you will ensure that you deduct their salaries, or allowances to pay us. And they, as I understand, simply wrote to introduce this, is it bulk life company without more. And now they are being said that they have done one wrong or the other. Yeah, so Sule, did you know that this was the extent of money involved when you blew the whistle?
No, we thought it could even be more than what we are told it is now, the 500 million. Looking at the numbers that we established to be ghost names, we thought that it could be more, because if you are looking at the current service allowance of, I think, 715 Ghana cedis, for example, what it means is that if you have about 40,000 or 50,000, or let us just use the example of what happened in January, after the finance minister said, look, given what is happening, let us do a head count before we decide to release money for payment. And what did they discover? A difference of 81,000. So multiply 715 by 81,000. And what do you get? And that's for every month. And then we are talking about years. So 5, 6, 7 years. So in our estimation, it was going to be more. And like I said from the beginning, I believe that in the end, the Attorney General may discover that the amount of money that may have been lost to the ghost name scandal will be more than the 548 that they have established now.
Yes. No movie, obi e kasa nipa ba ko kasa kesi open na Oware-Aboagye. You see, if mention that in kasa, apart from so called Good Evening Ghana, mention that in kasa. But nana be no ye lucky because per me sources near me check nipa 8 aye charge on count. Yes. But Okasai or say for first state at the name misleading court in a better say no crown and yanokre. The NTM also ye misleading 7 months ago assembly break here on the 20th of February. One Asempa FM Ekasai Obi T Ninina.
For the whole of this weekend, so one trending story has been at the National Service Secretariat, a place you used to work. Now what she and I think last week, many the current Director General of the National Service Authority, Ora Felix Jenfi, Eddie Nkomo, Ewu Studio ha. Now with your permission, me born a voice. Ama obieti in seminar or kind and then I pick your reactions. Yentie. Is it not a case of giving the dog a bad name to hang it?
I am not that sort of person. Here, Monsieur Honorable, your friends, Assibey Antwi. Many share, many of us at the senior, made the boo strong command because we're deep penny, a brand of that's all scheme. Many assembia, we are saying. Now they have been say a quite so and now dream ben or the better position in here. Some may yet me because ghost names. Sebi Senya Buapayo any and Shaya what she said would be a Dimbeko government payroll so. Obeji Obama for this kind of gunjan. Aden it me do sir. Ebi a year can be a or her and now her no and now Sebi Anya Vikra apim.
Yes.
Now 20,000, 50,000.
Because ghost names, dear, no. Now may share Felix statement and say, in the minute Oba ye in the Ministry of Finance a commission
yes.
Una supervise head count.
Yes. I collaborated with Felix to get the information out.
Into more head count new year. What did you find out?
Well, Cecilia there and na kasa make and say me pese Cecilia ban gusu a wo ye hwehwemu.
Yes.
Me pese me kan agwakọ to say oh me akrampo no me ankasa me no kasa Cecilia no. Me amadane hu biye na ma find information in area. There me focus Cecilia and abotay da me no Cecilia na say. Scheme no an authority no was Cecilia nipa omo amoda so omo ye adwuma. Ye wo sebe yen na me omo ye service. Omo na ye mo omo na yenhwe se de be ya bibi omo ye ohobia be na sa ghost names no NCB at least as long as President Mahama is the president. I am at National Service and the minions seconds unti sa asem ni bio unti sa asem no ghost name unti ho asem.
Yeah, but it's also fair because there is a public statement from the presidency and we have to dig a little bit into these numbers.
Specific one I buy no throw in penifo mo ho no mo honorable Osei Assibey Antwi na oye penio dan no throw command letter command buy letter sin nyina ho me wa say me so me phone na me remember the information nyina be ma say mrama ho kwan almost throw command by the beginning of the year say a fee that is 2023-2024 no ombe here a buying sika for 220,000 people.
And that's for the year 2024. Service personnel
2024 2025 service
2024-2025
almost estimated say ombe here ombe post to 220,000 people.
220,000.
Yes, and then I'm buying more musica. Yes, I buy more musica. If you honomono August.
Yes.
Almost letter come by say they see a posting microphone be into my scano.
Yes.
Almost the 128,000 and a coin. You buy you can say no every district be obi oyejuma ho bia manemra na onfa the dimra na said the busumi bia no onfa the same team machine so into your mokano.
Yes.
Busumi Biano, 70,000 they buy.
From the whole Ghana?
Of course.
Every month?
Yes.
From timer, Muteki?
Yes, 70,000.
That should be in January? No?
Yes, 70,000 now, but because now, a young na sabi yinchia omoka. Na dear, said the Aqua to see and say, Ubia who says sabi, or penny for Frabacro. So would dear grow and now didn't chim now one year now you be a yabacho. Until many penny be a more no brain no crowns no more. Ubia bohum, Menoka say, and no dear men can't be a FM. But pay a woman chain or a consultant for our posting system. The PCA is here, no more honomono. Now didn't see a manabasano, a hard drink a crap because Senka. Emra edaho say young fanny postings and now National Service channel in common disua in problem biama
Asempa FM.
Enti nana my name say utie Felix voice no
me tie
good
na me sham common say baby na me de ba be
okay
Felix there no because only a recent one and year 2024-2025
very well.
Now, fourth estate, dear no, it's true. Almost so a presentation be Namidi can't hear I will TV3. A presentation of coherence almost all goose names. Now, Obi, Ashibubiano, National Service, maybe we were from 2017, 2018, I'm a few. Tingo I say, me quite did look and found. At the final chance, I mean, say, some of what tested for AM, they couldn't push them. They have done a very reckless job. After Mubiano, National Service, a year postings 9, 4. You were major one now, you know, July, August, and on a year from all the public universities and private universities. Now, with the technical universities are coming. Now, among you push to your more a year, July, August. And your war, yes. Almost you push to your more November, December, or no much as January. And now your war, NSS for the two cohorts. First one will go in April. Now, second one, somewhere in September. Now, summation, a total of all of these postings, and apart from all of these 4 major postings, if you have schools in a day, a more prospective national service personnel list, there have been times where Omukra said to me the supplementary list, and I have private registration. So I will go on my brand also and national service no one yet. I feel maybe a person obey you was up on so. To canning na bomwa now the South figure no at the parliament and on that parliament, the budget projections near the budget. The national service home boxica. Now, a dear 40 seat for you, and say, a brave answer, a bare national service posting be answer no. We come out public. Say a nursing posting no, a teacher posting so, the main postings are making either we'll do a press conference or a press statement. It's all connected now from Tama. Yes, I posting to. So let me give you a clear example. In 2018, the main posting now, July, August, now you need 85,000. 85,000. And I work the main one, no, any NSS for the no, any a teacher for the no, any private ones, now Bawumia. Then you see about 135,000. You know now you be presented to Parliament, and your 4th seat for you, and say, comment so no more ye announce it, 2018, you announce 85,000. No more quack Parliament figure the command for budgetary purposes. No, Omuko no no Oma Tiefrim. Omutifrim almost in Yakano, the difference in a ghost. It Omuamuno and some Juman Omoye, it is a teacher for now, young push to Momo and some for Nana. And now, next is for a push to Omuko hot one, Omo and some for. Now, say, next is for a push to Omuko hot 1 and 2, Omo and some for Nana. Would you want to and one knows such simplistic? And I'm say no more multiplying by the national service allowance. So in this case, at that time, I think it was 545 or so. Now, on my side, normally other trouble on things into your chair, ghost forker. They are unfat teacher for the income, unfat unnecessary for the income.
Yeah, but into no, say more the first list ne koma Parliament for budgeting purposes na ebase numbers no increase based on a nurse for near teacher for cohorts na beba na. Do you go back to Parliament with the updated list?
Baby, time I the koma Parliament near push you mun every. It the same numbers in there ko. It say the projections na ko. It for instance say afi na ye push 85,000.
Yes.
November mo you sabe push teacher for. You be push nurses for. You be push omo enti ye kan nyina boma and ye the Parliament.
Na dey na
getting close to.
Dey na ya mo announce no.
Yeah, announce it na. Ye ba be main one ya announce it. Ye be teacher for the announce it. Ye be nurses for the nyina announce it.
Enti number be na say 4 tested 43 mo no.
4 tested for no echo far. Near the Parliament, but near the Parliament, no, the total number for all the postings are here.
Okay.
Including the main one, the teachers need no,
okay,
nurses for no,
okay,
and the private ones. Nini na ya the Parliament.
Okay.
So we go for Parliament figure na. No, we go for the main one, no, which is the public universities. The technical, the main one, can, which is the 85,000. Some more say example. Now, and what it's the difference. No, be almost say a ghost.
And no, yeah, okay. I get you now. Into omote general number, omote call Parliament. Omo fair no. Now,
yes,
the main posting, I don't know, universities need the any then without a teacher for the nurse for no matter for general one name.
Exactly.
The Ebe can almost say a ghost.
A ghost.
But my argument is that the Ebe can a teacher for the nurse for.
Exactly. And no matter because now so you can find it on the net.
Okay. But they also made the claim about repeated names in the list all those names are names that are paid. And also, how do you explain that?
Obi, your registration process is such that say no be able to your entry and exit. At the entry point, every time you will be a registration, we get invaded by fraudsters, scammers. So they attempt to register with all manner of information. Hey, a bit to me, fictitious ID card, a bit to me, coordinate no macrophobic picture. Just like Kenya, the Onkofa, will be no macrophobic Facebook picture. Register. They try to enter with all manner of fake information. But Obi, the system is such that you can never exit. Because when we are in our crown, one can say Pediana region where they call a municipality district and also require biometric verification. And a payment, no. It is not done, say, it is a kind of a good national service in Tino. Any young treat here. Yan name says now a GIPS in the Chescano, a subsidiary of Bank of Ghana, and almost no payment in and also a biometrically verified. Every month be an also here. It will be Pedianum also call. It is enka. Say, my registration. So what they did was that they went to the entry stage. Information almost says, or any information went to know this is how the system is. It is wrong. Find out whether that person was able to complete the process. It is not possible.
Now, and no, how can one find out? I mean, what we can, because back end, and yet public need access to the back end. In the front end information, you bet me access it.
But that is why Mamika says also we have investigation.
Yes.
Now what the front end, a reckless job, a lazy. When I was saying we investigation, and in your public need when I was saying but always say make automatic. So what you should have done is that go to the end. If you can't go for gifts, never say nipa na you seen it being appear 200 times whether he was paid. But in their presentation, they never mentioned Krampus or Moko gifts. They never said anything. And one said they assume that once they at the entry point, all of this information, so the assumption is that any will go through, so it means they were paid.
Yeah, but
what kind of assumption is that?
In Munsomo counter narrative, Munsomo show evidence be a chance that those people have not been paid.
When I was for investigation, I said they have not been paid. We have already exposed you, say number one. Oh, Kwana, basis I will see be a ghost name, sir. And don't you know what the about that put out scary? Say 2.2 billion, It's a reckless investigation, and medical say on one presentation on TV3 so. Also, we picked this figure from the National Service's own announcement, and we went to Parliament and also picked this figure from Parliament. So the difference between the figure we picked from Parliament and the main announcement we made, 45,000. So we multiply it by the National Service number, a boost.
The reasons you gave, sir, amount for try to tamper with system, would that be the same explanation for? But according to Fourth Estate, there are some people in there, I be the 97 years, 96 years, and
that is it, because the same thing. There is no way these people exited. Maybe sometimes there are some weird information and comfortable weird because they are fraudsters, they are scammers. A certain organization, they even advertise on even social media, Facebook. So many times, not your national security, any BNI, and they ignore us. It's by the time I also this because when you be Obi, it's just like university system. University is all apply your baby's our certificate. The moment I do certificate, you be upload certificates. School no FAO certificate na akwa verification wo waik. It is a would defect in a buyer woman ya expel and I dismissal. So you may try say enter with fake information, but you cannot exit. the system will pull you out along the line.
Yeah, but in Mumu case, you know, because on him, yeah, kasaya na me ghost names on SSS payroll. Obo ewo Google, for example, it throw out a lot of stories, some dating back to 2016. It, for example, 21st January 2015, there is a story which says NSS payroll cleared of 75,000 ghost names, says executive director. Where my Joy Online report. In 2016, 35,000 ghost names deleted from NSS payroll. This is April 19th, 2016. Where citynewsroom.com and also Ewaha. In Mumu case, you know, there was, I don't find a story, it just said there was a deliberate attempt to clean the system of ghost names.
Oh, no, Obi, you're quite a robust system, but in fact, one of the things we even did, you buy and say, you're connecting even a system to the central database. So that, say, register. Now, you see a particular ID card. Now, Busa, near a bit fully with details in Abba. In fact, also share Suleiman Abraham or see 2016, 2017 quite the problem. But even that time we have issues because there are people who try to impersonate people, especially teachers. Teachers are on advanced learning at universities. Obu are posting that not teachers almost national service. It is almost school. Ebu hani the list are invested in but Nippon on the national service. People even try to impersonate such persons. Say Omoye national service. So by connecting your system to the central database, a clear sample for we did it. In fact, what we had before, ghost names are bad that time. Now even the payment system is different. Sometimes not your biometric verification be how I see payment, we are question sign near the 2 accounts more. Now the checks quite mild. You were white buyer, admit or a lot of checks by over car no yet scandal and buyer na Yero Mahama didn't free office of the president about and son quickly year back after 2017 and the answer be advanced checks now. So if Fourth Estate you see such figures in calculating ghost names, they are wrong. They are poor investigation on here. You don't pick a figure from National Service and then pick a figure as announced. You pick a figure from Parliament, then what pick a figure from National Service. FM. Now what you see ghost names. Now one multiplying by the National Service Allowance.
Nana, ma me nase na yemfa ensi bibia ni na wose
ayi mete Felix Nsonka me kaisa tama only Felix interview na afina no aba foforo kra
yes
na sianso masate se o ka se osre nsem ni bia for test dia ba no bi wonu ma etu appear scary but bi anto ne boase I know say afia wakwa take it no maybe senka wo frɛ na ba maybe some of the things we hold more kind na on cancer because from many experience kakano quite election year so we year postings no August September it means omwa ombe ho no ebe had the main postings no it almost figure and no it is a director on a kwakwo sika or kwakwo sika with the projection of teacher training for no nursing training for member teacher training for no almost say 2025 you and a nursing training for no be post April near post be September 80 March budget here on the time they'll factor them in and I'm very sure Fred the score he's worked on it and it will be factored in. So that figure, that disparity now, it is because teacher training after the neighbor postiomo, nurses for after the neighbor postiomo, cohort 1, cohort 2 after the neighbor postiomo. So we welcome the investigation. But as for fourth estate, from 2018 no benyina a business, a bogus, anye juma papa bia, method no no, wrong. You don't so poor me. Now me work for very short time. Come on, contact me. Nobody contacted me. I was all one head office MPP. They be a menya letters so Mustafa Yusuf. Wanko baby no sports minister or MP. He has confirmed that nobody reached out to him. I think so much more very short. But me, Obi, okay. I would take them on.
Okay. As in you see them?
No. Because you can't just use anybody picture. Now we hear Suleiman Abraham is making such categorical statements. He say, as in Obi Akwako Fesikebi and creating a certain impression, gloomy impression. Say Obi Akwako Fesikebi free baby. Me, the four tested people, I will take them on. Some person would hear a certain investigation be now modified for proposals to solicit for funds elsewhere. You don't use people's credibility.
Nana, I think your point.
On also the side of the story, no people say, didn't na me bodiama, me bomber because in journalism, if you be fair hearing. It's what Suleiman there. Or more kafo on back here, Nana B. Also version no. Now we are caught at them. I cannot just play for you the accuser. I cannot just do a journalism. It's called fair journalism. There's a woman I'm sure we uncle no busao, no the one nam. That's what busao, young sound. Fanny Edman at here. If from you do not say to subscribe, I'm not clicking on notification with the video be to now what me I should be. I know your comment in the comment section. And now you are up any place on a pan with downloading after the Uduma. Me young Ghana, see you. Bye bye.